Oh, I am so tired. Oh, said every mom ever. Am I right, girls? Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Pauline. This is my amazing little creepy friend who is showing you that, yes, mums do feel really tired after we have babies. And I want to explore why tonight because it's something I had to deal with for a really long time before I worked out why. And it's not always because babies are really exhausting. There's something else going on there. And it's a reason why we can feel tired and exhausted and stressed and overwhelmed for years after our babies are bigger than this little guy here. All right. I'm really excited to share about this tonight. It's something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time because I work with a lot of mums who are struggling after they've had kids and they continue to feel tired and exhausted and just not themselves for so long afterwards. And I'm really passionate about helping mums. And I love that by helping mums, we're helping the entire family. You know, it really helps everyone, the mums and the kids and the families are just healthier and happier all round. So yeah, this is kind of like the whole package for me. So I'm really excited about sharing. All right, so if you jump on, you can say hi, you can comment, chat, add some info if you like. Hi, Sam and Jess and Pete and Paul. And Paul is going to be a dad very soon, so awesome. So excited for you guys. Okay, so I do have some freebies to share as well. I've put together a couple of really great smoothie recipes that are basically just like full of great stuff for pregnant and postpartum mums. Well, they're good for everyone really, but you know, really pack in everything that mums need while they're pregnant after baby. So if you'd like a copy of that, just comment or send me a PM and I can just send it through to you. I thought I'd say that up front in case you don't have time to watch the whole thing. You can just ask for that and that might help you anyway. And also, I'm also really happy to just have one-on-one conversations about if you're struggling after having a baby and you're feeling tired and not quite yourself, then just send me a message and we can go through it because everyone has different symptoms and different things going on, and it's really helpful to have someone to talk to one-on-one, and I can help you to work out what to do depending on where you're at and what's going on with you. So yeah, do feel free to just reach out because I can't give all of the information in one go for every single person that's going to fit. So I'm really happy to do it one-on-one. And tonight is really just about explaining something that I didn't know about until I had spent many, many, many years struggling with my own exhaustion and fatigue after I had my kids. So I'm really happy to just share this now as a knowledge, and then we can start working on how to actually restore that energy and vitality back if you're feeling a bit run down after having your little ones. Hi, Luana and Becky, and hi, Sarah. You can give me a wave, you can comment, anything that you like. I love to have some interaction. All right, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about fatigue. I'm talking about feeling unmotivated. I'm talking about feeling irritable and grumpy, having that feeling of being on, like wired and tired, even when you're exhausted, you feel like you can't quite switch your brain off, poor sleep, and all of those things are symptoms of what I'm talking about tonight, about how we feel after we have our little kids. And so many mums struggle after they've had kids, but we've kind of accidentally created this culture where we consider it to be normal to feel like that, like our kids are so exhausting that we just can't, you know, cope anymore. But just because something is common doesn't actually mean it's normal. And it's not normal for us to feel depleted for so long after we've had our kids, because what we're seeing is this state of exhaustion is going on for years and years and years after people have had their kids. That's not normal, okay? So even though lots of people are experiencing it, that doesn't mean that it's okay, and it should continue that way. Thank you. Right, I'm getting some likes. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so it's not serving us to continue to believe that we need to be tired mums, okay? I don't believe that. I don't believe that for you, and I didn't believe it for myself, and that's why I kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I figured out why and what was going on with me. So to give you just a bit of a rewind and a bit of the story, my oldest son is nearly 11, and when he was about 6 months old, I started to feel tired, like tired in a new kind of way that I'd never felt before. And I remember standing in the shower and thinking, oh my gosh, it feels like someone has like stuck a straw in my back and is sucking my energy out, like it was being siphoned from me. It was just not like anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't just having a newborn and you know, being awake at night and things like that. It wasn't that. It was something totally different. It just felt wrong. And I started seeing a naturopath really regularly. I started going on B vitamins and iron supplements. I was doing all sorts of different tests. I was having trouble with candida issues in my gut, things that I'd never struggled with before. We worked out over time that my body wasn't producing cortisol, which we now recognize is part of adrenal fatigue, which is like the plague of modern mothers for a few different reasons. And then we had our next baby. Well, actually, in between that, I was pregnant again and lost that one at 3 months, and then 6 months later got pregnant again. He was a terrible sleeper, like the worst. So I was even more exhausted. So back to the naturopath I went, more B vitamins, more iron supplements, felt a tiny bit better, but it still wasn't right. And then in 2014, I was doing family daycare from home, and I got a cold, just a normal run-of-the-mill cold, nothing severe, but it was like my body just fell apart under the weight of this one final thing. It was like the straw that broke the back of my body, and I found myself, it was like my exhaustion just ramped up, and I was struggling to get out of bed during the day. I was so unmotivated. I had this pain in my head that we actually thought for a long time was a sinus issue. And then we realized after many scans and tests, there was nothing wrong with my head. No one could figure it out. Years of seeing specialists and doctors and naturopaths and physiotherapists, no one could work out what was going on with my body. It just was, this pain was coming from nowhere. No medication touched it. So for 2 years, I went through that. I actually got pregnant with our third through all of that as well. And then by the end of the 2 years, I had kind of gone down a path where I could tell that I was heading towards depression. I was actually starting to have conversations around getting on any depressants because I was struggling so much with the chronic pain, the chronic exhaustion, just that feeling of being, constant, almost like a simmering anger that I just couldn't stop and rest and give my body what it needed. And I felt out of control. And so that's the point that I found myself at. And I was frustrated because there was no diagnosis. No one could tell me why I was so tired. And I had this fear that I was always going to feel that way. Was I always going to wake up in the morning and just be thinking about when I could go back to bed again? Just wasn't normal. It wasn't the person I used to be. Okay, so what is that? We are suffering from an epidemic case of postnatal depletion. And if you've never heard of postnatal depletion, that's okay, because I hadn't heard of it either for years and years. It was only retrospectively I could look back and see that everything started after I had my first baby. It's very well understood. You can Google it tonight and find tons of info on it. But it's a message that's not conveyed well to us mums before we get pregnant. We don't understand the toll of having a baby. We don't understand what's required to have a healthy pregnancy, really, and come out the other side in a way that enables our body to then continue to function the way it needs to function. It's not something that we're taught or understood. So that's what I want to go through a little bit tonight. All right, everyone who's jumped on, hi, Lisa. Oh, hi, Lisa, you've given me a wave. Hi, Liz. Okay. So when we look at the whole process of pregnancy and motherhood, we really have lost a lot of respect for it in our culture today, like in our Western culture. So we have, we work all the way through generally our pregnancies, or we have kids at home, and then we birth the baby and it's put in our arms and we're in hospital for like 1 or 2 days, and then we get sent home and we're like learning to breastfeed, and we're doing it around other kids, and we're feeding ourselves, and the spouse might be home for a week or 2 maybe to help, and then you're on your own, and you're doing all of that with 1 hour stretches of sleep at a time for weeks on end, right? So our culture itself doesn't support mums after pregnancy. We're actually very doting of mums during pregnancy, holding open the doors and, making sure, don't lift that. And then once the baby's born, it's like we're just supposed to go back to as if everything's normal. But what our body has just done for that 9.5 months is mind-blowingly phenomenal. And what it's continuing to do after that is just as significant. But we don't care for ourselves in that time. We're not enabled to do it, and our society doesn't respect and love that time after mums have had their babies, right? And some of us, I mean, some mums are going back to work 6 weeks after their babies are born. I mean, my goodness, there are operations people have where they're not even allowed to get out of bed for 6 weeks, and then we're just sending our new mums off to work every day to handle that. I mean, it's insane to me. We've really lost our way in terms of that. So it's something to just understand, that we need to start loving and respecting our new mums and giving them that time to recover afterwards, loving on them, make them meals, give them a shoulder to cry on, be there for them, because there's so much going on in that time. And yeah, other cultures, mums aren't allowed out of bed for a month, and all they do is just feed the baby, and the baby's taken away and cared for, and they're mentored by the other mums, and it's beautiful. And we just don't do that here. So that's contributing to that, our inability to be able to replenish ourselves and recuperate after we've had this incredible, phenomenal thing go on for so long, right? Okay, so the way that we live, our lifestyle, our food culture, it doesn't support motherhood very well. Well, not at all. So I really want to get across the point that, girls, seriously, you are creating humans. Like, this is not a small thing, okay? And do you think that your body magically conjures up tissues and fats and bones and brains and things out of nothing? Like, no. Your body does not just make that out of thin air. That stuff is coming from what you are putting into your body. And our food and the way that we eat, we are so nutritionally depleted that your body will find a way to feed your baby, and that means it's coming from you. It's coming from your tissues. It's coming from your stores. It's coming from your brain. So our food in general is already deficient, right? We farm in terrible ways. We pick stuff before it's ripe, so it doesn't have that nutritional value to it. We get our food when it's like days or even weeks older than when it was picked. Like, it's just, the nutrition isn't even there. Even if you're trying to eat well, it's really, really difficult to get that in. So we go into pregnancy depleted. Then we go through pregnancy, where your body has to take everything that it can out of what you're giving it, but then also take some out of you. And then we have the baby, and then we continue to deplete ourselves through breastfeeding after that as well. Like, I breastfed my 3 kids for 1 year each. So when you start to add that up, that's like 1 year plus 9.5 months of pregnancy. That's a really long stretch of time for our bodies to be giving and giving and giving, and lacking so much in that nutritional intake to support yourself and the baby, because suddenly you've got 2 people you need to think about. Lisa said, how true? Yes, it is. And Sarah said, I love this conversation. Yes, because we don't have this conversation enough. We kind of expect our mums to be super women. Like, we give everyone a round of applause when they get home from the hospital and they're making brownies for all of their visitors. And we kind of go, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And instead we should be saying, what are you doing? You should be in bed, have some bone broth, But we label people as being superhuman, and it's just, it doesn't serve us to try to live up to an expectation that we can do it all, because that just, it's not possible. It's not the way that it's supposed to happen, and your body's not up for it, and when you factor in postnatal depletion plus then this superwoman that we're supposed to be, you end up with exhausted mums for years and years and years, because we never get that recuperation time, and we're never replenishing what we've lost. So basically the placenta is like a tunnel between what you're eating and your baby, right? And all of that nutrition flows through to your baby. So I'm not going to go into a big lecture on what you should be eating, because we all know you should be eating well, right? But the fact is that less than 2% of Australians are eating the 2 and 5 fruit and veg a day. And that 2 and 5 is insanely and woefully inadequate for even a normal non-pregnant person. So when you factor in that you are also then creating another human, we need so much more than that. There was actually a study done in 2014 by a London university that said we should be eating 10 serves of fruit and veg a day as an absolute minimum. So 2 and 5 is like super inadequate anyway, and less than 2% of us are even getting that. So this is why we're emerging from pregnancy going, oh my gosh, I have no brain left. I have no energy. There's nothing left of me, because your body is taking so much from itself to give to your baby. Okay, baby brain. Let's talk about baby brain. Who here has said, oh my gosh, I've got baby brain, and you've had like your youngest baby is like 2 years old. I've done that so many times. Can I still claim baby brain? And yes, you can, because baby brain is a real and recognized problem. Baby brain is actually a deficiency of good fats in your brain. You are literally depleted of good fats that allow your brain to function correctly. So the symptoms of that are things like poor memory, poor concentration. So, you know, having conversations with people and you just go, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. And you walk into a room and go, what am I doing? Like that inability to grasp things and hold them in your mind. That's all baby brain. That all comes from a deficiency in your brain of those good omegas, those good fats that we need. They are called essential fatty acids because they are literally essential for life. But our babies take so much of that. So in the last weeks of pregnancy, your baby requires 7 grams of fat per day passing through the placenta in order for its brain to grow properly. That's 7 grams of good fat every single day in those last few weeks. And again, if you're not getting that good fat in, and we are a society that is so bad at eating good fats, especially because we've been told for so long fat is bad, that, you know, a lot of the time your body will have to take that from your stores in order to create your baby's brain. So yes, you can claim baby brain. It is a real and recognized problem. It is not just mums being airy-fairy and overloaded. It's actually an issue where your brain is not functioning correctly. Okay. All right. So another symptom of baby brain is emotional swings. So that I'm crying for no reason kind of thing. That's all part of that deficiency as well. Okay. During pregnancy, your brain shrinks by 5%. And during pregnancy, while your brain is shrinking, it's also getting almost like a software upgrade that tunes your brain in to your baby. The connection between baby and mum through placenta is unbelievable, right? But your brain actually changes so that when your baby's born, you kind of have this inbuilt radar going on to your particular baby. And that happens, and it's irreversible. Your brain will always be attuned to your children because your brain changes while you're pregnant. So this stuff is phenomenal, guys. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we need to respect the pregnancy process here because it is amazing. We need to feed the pregnancy process so that all of this stuff can happen and happen like in its most epic glory without leaving us dried out husks at the end of it. Okay. So yeah, what happens is that because of the poor quality of our foods now, because of the change in culture around foods, we're eating more processed and highly refined foods than ever before. We're going into pregnancy already depleted, and it's cumulative. So every pregnancy is depleting you more and more. And I could definitely see as I go back, I can see how each pregnancy did wear me down because I ended up, I mean, even though I lost one, I was pregnant 4 times. And there are, you know, lots of mums out there who've had miscarriages, and you've got to count each one of those because your body is doing stuff every single time and then having to reverse it and then get pregnant and then reverse it. And each time it is depleting you. So it's cumulative. And that's what postnatal depletion is. So like I said, you can Google this stuff afterwards. It is definitely well recognized. And like I said, just not conveyed well to mums. Okay, sorry, a few people have joined and I haven't said hello. Hi, Carmel and Lauren and Nairi and Jacqueline, who is pregnant. Awesome. And Kim. Okay, so, all right, what can we do? So postnatal depletion is linked to postpartum depression, but you don't have to have postnatal depletion to have postpartum depression, but it is something to think about. You know, if you find yourself struggling with that, then yeah, I would definitely have a look at the depletion side of it as well. All right. So what ended up helping me, you know, I got up to that part in my story where I was saying I had been struggling for years with this chronic exhaustion, and now I was at a point where I was in chronic pain as well, and no one could figure out what was going on. And what helped me the most was actually the simplest thing of all, and that was coming back to that real simplicity and the wisdom of just real food. It's just dialing it back to that, putting back in all those key things that our bodies need for pregnancy and are missing out on currently in our diet. So the first step to getting back to being yourself, how you were pre-baby, is getting back to that foundation of real, genuine nutrition. So multivitamins and prenatal vitamins, I'm definitely not going to tell you to go off anything. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you advice on that, but I can tell you now that multivitamins and prenatal vitamins are not the answer to your problems, because It's very well understood that multivitamins, because they're synthetically created and they're isolated, they're fractured, then your body can't absorb them properly. So a lot of it you just wee out anyway. But also there's just not enough. You know, in a multivitamin or Elevate or something, you're getting like 35 vitamins. But there's tens of thousands of vitamins and phytonutrients and antioxidants in real food. Like one apple has 400 nutrients in it. And you're comparing that to like one synthetic multivitamin that's got 30 vitamins. It just cannot fill all of those gaps for you. So I'm not saying go off them. I'm just saying don't rely on them, because there's so little bioavailability there, and it's so limited in what it's actually giving you. And it's not using, your body can't use it synergistically. Your body needs so many different elements within that plant kingdom to be able to use those things properly and absorb them and unlock everything. And you just can't get that from the multivitamins. So again, I'm not saying go off them. I'm just saying be aware. Don't rely on them to be your savior when it comes to nutrition, because they're not going to cut it. Yes, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, instead, we need to come back to, like I said, that wisdom of real food. I'm talking fruits and vegetables, good fats, good complex carbohydrates, proteins, less of those processed, packaged, awful foods with refined sugars and things like that. Those kill your energy. They cause terrible blood sugar spikes up and down. And you end up in this cycle where you're just constantly, your brain and your body are constantly looking for that next hit to try to get you through. And that will never serve you long term. That will end up, trust me, I know, you'll just end up going down a path where you'll need more and more and more hits. You need to stop that in its tracks. Hi, a few people have jumped on, so I better say hi. Hi, Cindy. How are you going? Hi, Laura and Lauren and Vicky. Okay, and the other one is less wheat, dairy, and refined sugar. Those all create massive amounts of inflammation in our body. That increases our oxidative stress. That increases free radicals. That leads to different diseases, but it definitely hammers your energy. Your body has to put so much energy into fixing those things, fixing that inflammation, that it can't produce energy for other things. So there's, yeah, I've done other lives and things on wheat and things like that. So if you're interested, just message me and I'm happy to just quickly let you know why. I don't really have time to go through it right now, but wheat, dairy, and refined sugar are huge issues in our modern diet. The way that they're processed now, they are definitely considered a processed food now. And more water. Oh my gosh, we need so much more water in our lives. So that's the key things. And I do absolutely believe that we can conquer this plague of modern mums, this postnatal depletion. I know I've definitely been able to do it. I am such a different person to the person I was a few years ago when I could barely get up in the morning. Now I get up and I go for walks in the morning, and I couldn't exercise, and now I can, and all these things I've been able to undo just by refilling the tank after it got emptied again and again and again. So I've been able to do that. So knowledge is definitely key to recovery. And I think recognizing that feeling tired and unmotivated and that exhaustion and feeling emotional up and down swings and feeling overwhelmed, it's not normal. It might be common, but it's not normal. So if you're feeling that way, let's start to do something about it. Okay, so please message me. I can't give a one-size-fits-all solution because everyone has different things going on in their life, different lifestyles and symptoms and stuff. So more than happy for you to just message me, and we can ping back and forth and figure this out for you. I do have 2 great smoothie recipes that I'm happy to share. Just message me and I'll PM it through to you. But they are awesome, like packed in smoothie recipes full of really great stuff for prenatal and postnatal mums. Lots of really good fats and omegas and the same thing, but proteins and things like that in there as well, and they're really yummy. So they're great to have. I love smoothies for that reason, because you can pack so much in, and even if you're feeling a bit blah from pregnancy, you can usually get down a smoothie, usually. So, all right. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I think the breakdown of it would be that I really worked hard on increasing my omega intake through plant-based omegas. I focused on the rainbow of fruit and veg. And actually, when I really worked on getting those good fats back in my diet, all of my hair grew back. I had such thin hair and it all just started growing back, and now it's really thick and really nice. So it's definitely something I started to see, and I just cut out the garbage. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it, and like I said, I'm happy to share around that with you one-on-one, but I don't really have time to go through it right now. I'm up to 24 minutes, so I better go. So if you need a hand, please just reach out. Mums, I think you are so incredibly awesome. I do think every mum is a superwoman, but I also believe that we need to help each other. So please let me know if you need some help, because you don't have to be tired for the rest of your life. We can undo it. We can kiss this postnatal depletion goodbye. So yeah, just reach out, and thanks so much for jumping on, everybody. Bye.